And finally, the reset, which means to define and to design the strategies which should lead us in the after-Corona phase.
Whether you like it or not, this has already happened. And whether you like it or not, so has this.
And to create a reset in our economic, social, ecological thinking.
Time is running out. We're already quite late. I'm making this video out of compassion. Compassion for my fellow man, because I know what's coming, and because I want you to be okay. I want to go back to normal as much as the next person, but unfortunately, priorities have shifted. If you do not have each one of these in place, I urge you to do so as fast as you possibly can. Food, shelter, energy, community, money outside of the system, and medicine if you need them. So let's start with food. It's obvious to everyone by now that food prices are only getting more expensive. Those of us in the know have been aware of food shortages to come for over 2 years now. And now even the mainstream media is ringing the bell. The two nations that are at the forefront of the news for the past few weeks were the third and the fourth largest wheat producers on the planet. No planting has taken place as a result of current events, so we are going to see enormous wheat shortages in Q4. More people than ever are requiring the use of food banks, and even people that have a job are having to top up from food banks. So I am proposing that wherever possible, you start to buy extra food and start to stockpile this food. If I'm wrong, and I hope that I am, you can eat the food or donate it to charity. If I'm right about what's to come, you will be incredibly grateful that you have taken care of yourself and your family for at least a few weeks and preferably months. If nothing else, food purchased today will certainly be cheaper than food purchased this time next year due to both inflation and food shortages, should they arise. Shelter. Our friends over the pond are facing record rent increases, but for those of you also based in the UK, you all know that this is true for the UK as well. The UK has absolutely soaring demand for rented homes, which is pushing the average cost to nearly £1,000 a month. Again, they will tell you anything but the truth, and the truth is that inflation is forcing this to occur. We have also seen the fastest rent rise in 5 years, and many people are struggling to keep up with their rents all over the UK. This, of course, has a knock-on effect in that it makes it more difficult to save to own your own house. And so I propose you think about shelter. Do you have somewhere to go if rent continues to increase, along with energy and food and everything else, while your wages stay the same? Energy. Energy price increases is something that has affected every single one of us and will continue to affect every single one of us. Whilst the government may or may not step in to help, whilst they may subsidise some bills, you have to understand that any subsidisation that might occur only comes from freshly printed money and therefore worsening inflation longer term. So have you considered that maybe you could stock up on portable fuel? Have you got wood that you can burn in the event of a blackout? Have you got a way to heat your home? Have you got a way to barbecue? Have you got a way to stay warm should an energy crisis occur? Community. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have fallen out with family members, if you have not been reaching out to friends, if you have found yourself distanced as a result of this pandemic and the lockdowns, then I ask you to consider rekindling these relationships, reigniting old friendships, being the bigger person in the family, patching over these relationships, because when times get hard, you are really going to need each other. They're going to need you, as much as you're going to need them. The bigger your community, the stronger your chance should the worst occur. Money outside the system. If you have all of the above 4 in place, and I really would suggest prioritizing the top 4, the reason being, you could have all the money in the world, you could have tons and tons of wealth, but what good is that when there are food shortages? What good is that in the event of a blackout where there's no energy whatsoever? What good is having money when there's simply no resources to spend it on? Not to mention, the purchasing power of our money is decreasing every single day. So wouldn't it make sense to allocate some resources now? You may well feel the money in your bank is safe, and even if you don't care about inflation, which of course you should, but even if you don't, you may feel like you don't have enough saved to worry about, or that you're more than happy keeping it inside of the bank. You may own cryptocurrency and keep it on an exchange. But I'm here to tell you that money outside the system is absolutely imperative for you once you have food, shelter, energy and community sorted. The same people orchestrating the reset are also hinting at what they call a comprehensive cyber attack on the financial system.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
This isn't me saying this. This is the people in charge. This is the people whose game it is to literally tell you what they're going to do before they do it. So when I say you're running out of time, again, this is not me saying this. This is them. This is why it's important to have money outside the system. At the very least, some cash under the mattress is, in my opinion, preferable to cash in the bank. If you hold cryptocurrency, then keeping it on an exchange is simply not an option. When these people are threatening a cyber attack on the entire financial system, you better make sure you know how to store your cryptocurrency in cold storage on hardware wallets. Another option for you to consider would be physical gold and physical silver. Again, if you hold paper gold and paper silver, things like ETFs, ETNs, ETCs, you hold this sorts of gold in your pension accounts or as stocks and shares ISAs or some equivalent, then wherever possible, converting some of it at least to physical bullion would be something worth considering. Remember, if this cyber attack does show up and does take down the entire financial system, there will be no redemption of your paper gold. There will be no redemption of your paper silver. There will be no exchanging your ETFs. There will be no selling of assets. There will be no selling of shares. There will be no access to cash in your bank. There will be no access to cash in the ATMs. There will be no access to anything. Only the people that move first and that take their money outside of the system and keep it somewhere safe in the meantime, only those people will have access to money. And lastly, medicine. If you or your family require medicine, particularly life-saving medicine, then building up a small stockpile of this certainly can't hurt. I'm not advising you to go and build up enormous stockpiles, but having an extra month to 2 months supply might not be the worst idea in the world. Just a reminder, they literally said a cyber attack that may bring down the entire power grid.
Of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole.
And so I ask you to consider the following. If there's a 5% chance that I'm right, wouldn't it be worth taking some action? Please understand, I'm not trying to doom monger here. I'm not trying to fear monger. I'm not trying to call the end of the world or an apocalypse. I am simply pointing at real life facts and then telling you to perform some damage control and to try to get ahead of the curve. If this series of events unfolds, the people that have moved first will have the best chance. So I urge you to do so. I urge you to share this around. I urge you to send this to all the people you love. I urge you to do what you can to take care of yourself and your family, to be the chosen one in your family, and to help them out. I'm your boy Camel. Take care.